Just realized I didn't have my microphone turned on. Awesome. So what I was saying is that this is a Sunday morning workout. What I'm doing is I'm preparing for the TFE debate tomorrow night. So for those of you who don't know, I will be debating Will Duffy. We're going to be discussing specifically the final experiment. Yes, sorry, TikTok. You guys, I'll be watching the TikTok, actually. No one's on my YouTube. I was looking at the wrong chat. So yeah, thank you for letting me know there's no audio. What I was saying though is that I need to exercise because it directly correlates to your brain strength. Do I want to be slow? Do I want to be quick? Do I want to be able to connect with Will Duffy so that we can actually exchange information in a clear, concise way? A debate is not necessarily about trying to one-up him. For me, I'm trying to actually explain to Will Duffy how everything he did for the final experiment validated flat Earth. So I'm going to be exercising right now. If any of you guys have questions, I have my whiteboard right up above me in very clear pictures. These are the debate notes that I sent Will Duffy because, again, I'm not trying to catch Will Duffy off guard. I'm trying to teach him why everything he did is actually showing us the flat Earth. So thank you guys. I'm going to play this music back up and start a little bit of my workout. Any questions you have, feel free to drop them in the chats. The debate will be hosted on Will Duffy's channel. So I have a link right here. YouTube at the-final-experiment. So if you don't have a YouTube, please go on there. Normally I will be re-streaming it out to TikTok, to Rumble, but I don't want to screw up with my connection because I want to make sure that I'm focused preparing. So go take a look at Will Duffy's channel. Again, if you don't want to, it'll be probably re-put onto my channel the day after. But definitely take a look. It'll be very interesting. We're going to go over everything about the final experiment. So we're going to look at how the 24-hour sun is something that can only work on flat Earth. But not only that, the 24-hour moon. So the 24-hour visibility formula works for all celestial objects. It does. It doesn't actually matter how far the distance is. The heliocentric model claims that they're very distant apart, 1 million miles to millions of light years. We're on flat Earth. We know everything's just on the firmament right above us at that same distance. So for the 24-hour visibility formula that I use, I think it's, where is it? It's actually not on there. That's in one of the other notes that we can go over, but it works for all celestial objects. So we're going to go over that. Imagine being able to measure things in reality. Yes, Dad Bob, good point. Everything about flat Earth is based on reality. So we start with the observer-centric measurements. If you see point 1, that's what the graticule is. So anyone can go outside and start looking at Polaris, looking at the South Celestial Pole, the Southern Cross, seeing these stars, and based on that where you are located. For example, I'm in Belize, my latitude is 17 degrees from my horizon. Polaris is also coincidentally 17 degrees from a horizon. Doing this, you can construct what's called the graticule. So this is an observer-centric way to create the celestial sphere. So those of you who may be familiar with that little dome that's over the Flat Earth Pro app, that's over the Walter Bislin app, that's over the Firmament Tracker's Flat Earth model, this dome we can create ourselves very, very easily. But the interesting thing is, it's a perfect sphere. It's not an oblate spheroid. So many people get confused and think that we're projecting the globe onto flat Earth. That is not true at all. What actually happens is that the globe is a projection from the flat Earth graticule. So that is the number one observation up there, and the graticule itself is abstract from any physical representation. So the interesting thing is that we have a couple options. Once we constructed that graticule above, you see how I have number 2 right here? So look up there, number 2. We can then project it out into many ways. You can project it out to a globe, but you can also project it out to an oblique Mercator map. You can project it out to the North Polar AE map. So for those of us who are flat earthers, we know that we live on the North Polar AE map, the Gleason map. You live on that. And you know that because of the sun's analemma, the smaller north, larger south. So when I look at it, it seems to me that the AE projection is the most realistic representation of where we live. It doesn't make sense to have to project it to a sphere when it's already flat to begin with. And using flat planar trigonometry, we can predict all celestial phenomenon. So given that we can make predictions using flat Earth planar trigonometry, and we don't need spherical trig, there's no reason to project it onto a sphere. You can. The globe is a theoretical model. Sure, you can take a perfect sphere, project it out to an oblate spheroid, but that's very important to understand. To make a globe model, you have to project that graticule. So up there, the first thing I'm talking about, you construct that no matter what. A perfect celestial sphere of arbitrary radius. It doesn't matter. You're just looking, Polaris is 17 degrees from my horizon, and I'm at 17 degrees latitude in Belize. And then you do that over the whole world, and you end up getting the celestial sphere. You can project it out onto a globe, but it's important to remember that it's always a projection. The minor axis of the globe is different from the major axis. It's not a perfect sphere. So that's very important to understand. When you project the flat Earth to a globe, you will have distortions, but it's possible to create a theoretical model. WSG84. Jody, no, these are actually real things. So you'd want to look up WGS84. That's one of the names of the globe models, and you might, it sounds funny, but it's not a perfect sphere. It is an oblate spheroid, and that is how you create a globe model, much in the same way you could project it out to an oblique Mercator, to a North Polar AE. But the important thing to remember is that the globe is not a perfect sphere. So let me just check YouTube, see if we got any questions here. Nice. TikTok chat's going well. I'm going to start my first set of my workout. I'm training for a big debate coming up tomorrow, and I need my mental clarity to be at the peak level. And that happens through exercise, flat earth fitness specifically. Hello, welcome back from my first set. If anyone has questions, I'm checking the YouTube chats and checking the the TikTok, not looking at Rumble. Let's change up the music. Let's go to in here. John Fleming from YouTube asks a good question or raises a good point. Will is going to say that the sky dome grid is based off of the globe. Now, the sky dome grid, that is step 1 up here, and that's what it looks like over there. It's often called a graticule. Now, the interesting thing with that is it's a perfect sphere. So the sky dome grid is a perfect sphere, whereas the globe is a projection of that. The globe is not perfectly spherical. And this has been quantified. There's globe models. I'm going to cite WSG84. It is the oblate spheroid. So it is impossible for me to be using the globe model. I'm using the graticule. So very good point, John. Thanks for pointing that out. I am quite prepared for this debate because for me, it's not really like a script. It's just pure science and math. I even gave Will Duffy this whiteboard and like photos of all my notes because I want him to at least be prepared, have the foundational understanding of flat earth science that he just wouldn't have if all he's been exposed to are people like MC Toon or Jaren. He's never been taught this stuff before, so I'm trying to give him like a heads up so that he knows what we're going to talk about, and then hopefully he will also have good questions. So you guys in the chats, if you also have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not going to debate you, but I can answer any questions you have, and in my opinion, it's all science and math. So there only is one right answer, and that's the flat earth. You live on the Gleason map, and there's a way to model that out, and we end up seeing that what we observe on flat earth is a little bit more realistic than the assumptions we'd have to make if we projected it onto a sphere. Just wanted to take a quick second to point out that my weights, oh, you're not going to be able to see them all the way because I have this covering it. Let me just turn that off for one quick second. My weights are made from like concrete wrapped in foam with a metal bar between them. There is no cost to start exercising and to start being healthy. So I do this flat earth fitness stuff because a lot of people in the flat earth community, you don't know anyone that you can actually trust to get free fitness advice from. And for myself, I need to work out regardless. So I'm going to stream it. And if you want to learn how to exercise, how to be healthy, how to like make a home gym on a cheap budget, because that's the thing, we're doing like home exercises, calisthenics. We're exercising on flat surfaces. You don't need to go to a gym. You don't really need anything except a flat surface and then maybe $20. Like, this was really cheap to make, but now I have professional quality dumbbells of different sizes, and it's so fascinating. So if this part interests you and you want to learn more about how to start a home gym, flat earth fitness, join the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group called Flat Earth Fitness, and I will help teach you everything you need to know. CJ from from YouTube says, no curve, game over. That is true. So the onus is on the Globers to argue why they believe it's okay to measure Earth flat an infinite amount of times, define the double integral dA to have curved geometry. That is what we do in step 3. It is possible, and I'm very fair with globers, it is possible to measure Earth flat an infinite amount of times, like measure it perfectly flat. And depending on how you define the infinitesimal small area, this is a double integral, you can define it to remain perfectly flat, but you can also define it to have that rate of angular change, what is it, d theta over dx. That can equal the same perspective we see from a flat Earth or the curvature from a globe. That's extremely important to understand, but no matter what, we're always starting from that flat baseline. That's step 1, the graticule. We construct that, and then if we want to, you can project it onto a globe. But it's important to remember that it's always that flat baseline that we started with. And it puts the onus on a glober to say, okay, here is why now I feel it's okay to project it onto a sphere. They may have a valid reason, but for me, I've always found it's better to project it onto the North Polar AE map. The Gleason map is what we live on. Oh, CJ says from 180,000 feet, how many intervals is that? I might have misspoke. Let me turn down my background music just so I can say it clearly. Integral, not interval. An integral is what we use when we're dealing with quantities of infinity. And that's a form of calculus. So I was saying an integral because what we do is if you measure something flat, you can then do that an infinite amount of times. And this is where calculus comes into play. And this is how the globe is created, because they measure Earth flat and wrap it around a ball. So that was what I meant by integral, not interval. Very good question. So John Fleming says my math is correct. And that is true. My math is correct. This is flat planar trigonometry. You can look this up. No one will deny it. The question then comes, the application of my math. Am I justified in doing a Lorentz ether transform to measure distances? Am I justified in saying Australia actually does look stretched up? If you were up high, looking down, let's say thousands of miles up, so this is hundreds of thousands of feet, looking down, I really do believe you're going to see Australia stretched out like how the Gleason map shows. But when you go to measure it from your frame of reference, we know that the ether compresses it down. So that's a very good point, John. My math is correct, but my application of it is where it becomes debatable. So I guess I would have to approach that through a few ways. The idea of dome optics, I would argue, I would start with how when you're watching the sunset at a beach, you know how you get the ray of light coming to your feet? And then your friend and your other friends, they all have their own individual ray of light. You can't see theirs, they can't see yours, you can only see yours. This can only happen under a dome with light shining through it. That is how I would then argue for that. Now, the other thing, I guess, for my ether, the Lorentz transforms that I use, how would I argue that? That's a little harder to argue. It's more theoretical. We know that there's ether. We know that there are ether compressions. Under globe science, it would have to happen at relativistic speeds. But the theory of relativity isn't necessarily concrete. So people like Shane St. Pierre and Alan from Space Audits, they will completely debunk relativity. I don't know enough to debunk it. All I know is that my interpretation of it works for flat Earth, and we can measure distances and everything works on that. So ether, in my Lorentz compressions, I do need a better way to justify that. Timothy P. Southwick from Facebook says, Tell them to provide physical globe curvature. Now, the thing though about this debate with Will Duffy is that we're not actually talking about the shape of the Earth. So if you watched Nathan Thompson's debate recently and you might have thought it went a little off topic, they weren't really on the same page, that's because the topic of the debate isn't actually the shape of the Earth. Specifically, it's do the final experiments work on a flat Earth? And then me, I take it one step further and I say it can only work on flat Earth. So everything Will Duffy did actually falsified the globe. A very basic example is the magnetic field strengths. On a globe, we expect that symmetry like we do for the North and South poles, the star trails. So then the field strength at the north should be equal to the south. But it's not at all. We see it better represented on a flat Earth with that toroidal field. So all those little things are what we're going to be debating about. I'm trying to teach Will Duffy why the results of his experiment, nothing I did myself, everything he did proves the flat Earth. This is the peak of the scientific method. Let me just check over to TikTok, see if I'm missing any of the comments there. Let's see. Band says 130 years of RF electronic engineering proves the globe. Not sure, because we believe I guess it wouldn't at all. RF, can you explain that a little bit more? How would RF engineering prove the globe? Because in my opinion, I was thinking like reflecting waves far. But any waves you bounce off an ionosphere, we would believe that's bouncing off the firmament. So I'm just trying to think what you mean by that specifically. Old Greg says, I have a huge question. Please ask your question. I will make sure to answer it. So TikTok's doing good. YouTube, let me just head back over here. Jonathan Fleming says he's debated McToon, Jaron, Will. None of them seem to understand my model. Yeah, very good point. So part of the confusion they may have may be that they don't even think it's my model. So the problem is, from 2017, a guy named Walter Bislin made the first 3D flat Earth model ever. It was only for the sun and moon, and the map didn't even have country names on it. Walter Bislin couldn't combine astronomy with geography, but it was very good though. Now the problem is, 7 years later, I come along, code a whole new model from scratch that is also in 3D, but does everything. So we have multiple observers, we have the planets, the stars, but MC Toon, Jaron, Austin, they may not know the difference. They may just see a quick image of it and assume it's Walter Bislin's. So that is the issue, and that's also why I focus on the math. The models and stuff are more visualization tools to quickly show you all the complicated math going on. Now, Will Duffy is part of the Firmament Trackers Facebook group. There's a private group of 28,000 of us. He used to be in there, but he's still in the public group. So he would have seen a lot of the screenshots from my model, and I think he knows better. But either way, it's not a debate about whether my model specifically, it's more just flat Earth in general. All of this stuff here is universal, and then where it gets disagreed upon is, for example, the South Pole. I believe we have infinite South Poles because longitude is a continuous coordinate system. 90 degrees with a longitude of 100 is very different from 90 degrees with a longitude of 120. Awesome. Very good comments going on YouTube and Facebook. I like it. Let me see, Greg. Old Greg from TikTok had a question. Let me just make sure I review it. Out of all the scientists in NASA, why wouldn't we have recreated life on a spinning ball in a vacuum? Well, the easiest explanation of that is that abiogenesis isn't really possible. So if you're talking about creating life, that is called abiogenesis, and that's a whole separate study independent of the Big Bang. So if you're talking about can we make a Big Bang to make a globe? No. But you asked two questions. That's why I'm just pointing out that creating life and making a globe are two separate studies, but neither of them can be done. So even on a flat Earth, we still can't create life ourselves. Abiogenesis is up to the creator. It's one of the things that we can't replicate. It's pretty cool. Lish says science and flirfs don't go together. I would have to disagree because I wrote the flat earth science textbook. So, yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm going to continue my workout now with the dumbbells for bicep curls. Anyone has questions, I'll be checking the chats and comments. Thank you all. You know, we're lifting concrete, so these are homemade weights. I live in Belize, so I run the Weight Loss Belize program, and in 2020, it was illegal for us to go to the gym. So people like myself who wanted to stay healthy and fight COVID, because as we know, the only people who got sick from COVID were the fat people, the obese people, and closing down the gyms put our health at risk. So in 2020, I started Weight Loss Belize, and we started teaching people how to get healthy, how to stay good. So this is from 2020, but part of that was teaching people how to make dumbbell homemade weights. How can we make weights at home if the government won't let us go to the gym and we're gonna die and get COVID unless we can exercise? I started teaching people in Belize how they affordably, because you gotta remember, we're a low income country. We don't have the money to go out and buy $500 worth of weights for home. We can afford a $20 bag of concrete and then a metal bar. So I was teaching everyone how to make these amazing concrete weights. So that's the Weight Loss Belize Flat Earth Fitness. Let's see the other questions. d cubed r over dt3 says, let's discuss math, please. What would you like to discuss about math? So I have a debate with Will Duffy coming up, and I'm trying to teach him how the final experiments all work on flat Earth. Now, d cubed over dt cubed, the up above are the main talking points. So I guess to put it very simply, we go outside, we take flat Earth measurements, and then we can project it onto any surface you want. The globe is not perfectly spherical, it's an oblate spheroid, and when you project it out, that's how you get the globe model. But for me, it makes sense to keep it flat, project it on the A. Oh yeah, there's no math there. Maybe, I guess, the top, a local flat tangent. D cubed, would you agree that a double integral dA can equal the surface area of a globe? I guess that's one of the arguments I have. It's possible to measure Earth flat and wrap it around a ball, but there's no reason to do it. Cool. So if there's any specific questions, let me know. I'll continue reviewing the TikTok and YouTube chat. I want to continue with the bicep curls, and then in a little bit we're going to go outside. You'll see the outside gym. We'll do some chest pull-ups and everything. Thank you all for joining on. Let me know if there's any music suggestions as well. Now I understand what CJ from YouTube was saying. How you can't wrap the... So if you go up 180,000 feet in a balloon, he's saying you'll see a globe. And you can't wrap that around a ball. I agree. That's not necessarily the argument I was saying. What I was saying is that you measure Earth flat. For example, I go outside, I see Polaris is 17 degrees from my horizon, and I know that I live in Belize at 17 degrees latitude. You do that for multiple locations, and then you get a graticule, and then you project it out. But to address his question though, let's say you go up 180,000 feet, and you look down, and you see a globe. If that's not fake, how could that happen? Are there conditions where we could get the waves of light to appear as if they are curving at 8 inches per mile squared? there are certain conditions where we could have the optical effect of seeing a globe. I don't know. I'd have to see that photo, know the conditions, how high they are, but it's possible. Personally, I don't think so. D3. Okay, I'm gonna put the math up then. Ugh. Hold on, let me get the specific sheet I want to put up for you guys then. Let's go over, what is this going to be called? Differential geometry. Yeah, you guys are going to like this. Yeah, so this is the globe math. If you want to make a globe, you measure Earth flat. That's that double integral dA. It's an infinitesimal small area, but it is perfectly flat. Now, how do we integrate it and end up with the surface area of a sphere? Well, that's that math I'm showing you in the middle. It all depends on how you define dA. Does that make sense? You can construct different coordinate systems where curvature is just a result of how you parameterized the space. We're integrating a flat Earth. Take a screenshot though, I'm going to pull this down. But that is the math that I argue. This is a true equation, but they're both true. There's one at the top where we end up something perfectly spherical, and there's one at the bottom where we show how it can also remain perfectly flat. It all depends on how you choose to define your flat surface. So that is the differential geometry. You can look this up if it's new to you, but that's how you make a globe. And the argument, like, I can't justify having the curvature in there. D3, well, I don't know if you can't see that. So we're integrating a perfectly flat surface to the surface area of a sphere. So 4 pi r squared. We're trying to figure out a way, how can we get a flat surface, wrap it around a ball an infinite amount of times, and end up with the surface area of a sphere, 4 pi r squared. But we have to double integrate because we're doing surface area. My dad left says, why can't you do a prediction of an elevation angle for flat Earth? Well, you can. That's not hard at all. What you would do is you want to first get the celestial declination. So declination is a sky coordinate that is the same for all observers, no matter where you are. So for example, in December, the declination of the sun is negative 23 degrees. And I can calculate this myself in Belize. Now what you do then is you rotate your perspective for wherever you want to make a prediction at. So if my latitude is negative 17 degrees and I know where the sun is, if we know that perspective rises and falls by 1 degree every 69 miles, you can then go anywhere in the world and make that same prediction. So elevation angles on flat Earth are very easy. My dad left says he's talking about objects on Earth, not the sky. There are zero measurements of flatness. Well, that's because it's not possible to actually put a tape measure across the Earth. Is that what you consider a measurement? Is that what you're looking for? My dad left, if you can define the type of measurement you're looking for, we might be able to help you. But if you're expecting someone to run a tape measure across all of Earth, that's not going to happen. But what does happen is that we measure Earth flat at an infinitesimal small area. Right now where I'm standing, this is infinitely flat. Timothy Southwick from YouTube says, are you all familiar with the Flat Earth Debate 24/7 live stream or Quantum Eraser? I definitely know, I think the Flat Earth Debate, I don't know if it's 24/7, but is that Nathan Oakley's? I do watch Nathan Oakley's morning live stream every once in a while. It's very good introductory concepts, measure Earth flat, elevation angles. Pretty good, and I hope they do review it. What Nathan, though, what they're not going to like is that I'm arguing that we do live on the AE map. Nathan and his crew, they have a different belief system. They have no model, make no claims. All they can get to is this first step, measuring Earth flat. They can't make it to the next level where they then project it out and get a model. So for me, I project it out, and we do live on the AE map. We live on a Gleason map. So that's going to be what they don't like about me, but everything else will be fine. Let's see TikTok. Casmo says, why do flat earthers hate each other? I guess it's threatening. So when Nathan Oakley first saw me come on, he saw me releasing the Firmament Tracker's Flat Earth app. That's threatening to him because he has no product, no model, whereas me, a new person, I'm making all these claims. So that's why Nathan would have originally attacked me, I think it was in November. Yes, Casmo, the Firmament Tracker's Flat Earth app. Let me just see if I can put it on screen very, very quickly. Right here, yeah. So the Firmament Tracker's Flat Earth app, we go into the planets, the stars, multiple observers. So something really cool is that Globe software still can't do multiple observers yet. They're still trying to catch up to where we're at. But yeah, this is free. Download it, learn how the world really works. Casmo says, doesn't that app use globe data? No. So as I just showed you, it's an AE projection. Actually, I can even show you something else that'll make it very clear. So see that little grid in there? That little grid is the graticule. It is a perfect sphere. Whereas, as you know, the globe is an oblate spheroid. The globe is a projection of the same thing that I have here. So no. D3_DT whatever says Stellarium can do every observer. Yes, but only one observer at a time. That's what you're missing out on. So let me see if I can show you the limitations of Globe software and what Flat Earth software is able to do now Yeah. So see on the screen right here, we have two celestial spheres plotted. Stellarium is only able to do one celestial sphere at a time because it's a globe model. You can't model something that doesn't exist, and that's why globe models will always have only one observer at a time, one observer. Whereas in my software, we have multiple observers, so we can see how multiple people would observe celestial phenomenon at once. And if you want these features, you can buy the app. It works on like iOS. There's like an iMac version. It's premium software because Globe can't do this. If you want to see what multiple observers see, you'd have to have like two stellariums windows. You can't do what flat Earth models can do. Okay, so let me get back to here. I still want to lift some more weights. What are the questions? Cool.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Awesome. Well, that does the dumbbell exercises for now. Now we're gonna go outside and do some chest pull-ups. Let me just see the questions. D3 DT says, let me up. If you're asking to join the live stream, it's not possible. I'm using OBS Studio, so there's no way to join this type of live stream. However, you might want to follow me on YouTube or Rumble. We do panels sometimes where my Restream account you could join. Awesome. Let's get outside set up now. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, the microphone won't work outside. I apologize for that, but we're gonna do some pull-ups. Any D3, DR. Let me put it up one more time. Take a screenshot of this. I can't keep repeating myself for you, but take the screenshot. So I'm gonna count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so if you haven't screenshotted this, I'm gonna assume you're just trolling. Now let me see what other questions. Cool, 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 cool.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We're gonna light it up now.
Okay, so it seems dr underscore, or sorry, d3d doesn't actually understand the math, and he keeps on asking for me to explain it to him. That is usually a technique done by people who don't understand the topic. So it's your claim. If you're saying it doesn't work, d3, d2, you need to show us why. The math is there. Show us what part. So step 1, step 2, step 3. So example, we start from the area being the double integral of dA. Tell me why you disagree with it. Don't ask me to teach you. You're the one saying it's wrong. So I'll leave this one up here because your point might be true. I wrote it down on paper. So this is the original graphic that me, the Flat Earth University, made. So this may be easier for someone like yourself to understand and comprehend D3, whatever. So take a look at it. Correct. I can't teach you calculus right now if that's what you want to understand. If you don't even know what an integral is or never done integration, then you're right. It's going to be very hard for you to understand this. This is more senior level topics. I was only showing it to him because he claimed to want to talk about math and seemed to be able to understand it. But yeah, don't worry. So Orviella Kambicha, if you can't understand this, that's fine. These are normally like first year university concepts. So it seems DR3D's fallacy is that if you can't do something yourself, it's false. That is a typical logical fallacy used by globers. Let me just look up, I guess, field theory. field theory equations. Now, I cannot prove a field theory equation, neither can you, but... Oh no, unified field theory. What is it called? Let me just search up this equation. Yeah, so most people would not be able to prove this equation, but that doesn't mean it's not real. So it seems like we're dealing with a glober right now, who, if you can't do something yourself, therefore it's false. So don't worry, even if you can't do it D3DR, it doesn't mean it's false. So what matters in science is whether the result is true. It doesn't matter whether an individual person can replicate it or not. What matters is, can the scientific community, so people who do know calculus, can they evaluate it and figure out if it's true or not? That's what matters in science, not whether you personally can. So then show us where this is wrong. It's very, very easy. We define the double integral dA to have curvature, and we end up with the sphere. This is a perfectly valid integration. But why would it matter whether I can or not? That's the logical fallacy. You're not able to actually attack the math. You're trying to attack the person presenting the argument. Do you not understand what a citation is? So you don't cite anything then, unless you can do it yourself? Everything else is wrong? That's a pretty negative outlook on life, D cubed R D3. You want to be able to learn how to use academic citations, how to cite something and then evaluate it. No, I understand it perfectly. That's why I made this graphic. I even drew symbols here. I tried to understand it the best I can, so this makes sense. Yes, this math would show you how flat measurements create a globe. How would you project the flat Earth onto a globe? This is how I would project the flat Earth onto a globe. I'm not sure how else to do it. And we have to use calculus because we're dealing with quantities of infinity. There's no real other way to do this. But let's get to the main, this slide here. This is the whole general slide, if anyone has. Yeah, that's how they make flat Earth though. You start with the flat Earth, and then the more measurements you do, you can wrap it around a ball, project it out to the AE map. The integral is defined from 0 to 2 pi, I believe, because we're going around a sphere. So because it's a continuous coordinate system, there's infinite possibilities in there, if that makes sense. Let me see if I can pull up the math. Yeah. The integral is defined from 0 to 2 pi, and it's an infinite between that, if that makes sense. Let me check YouTube. Cool. So YouTube, we are dying down. What about on TikTok? Anyone else have any questions? I didn't say integration to infinity, integration over infinity. We use calculus when we're dealing with quantities of infinity, is what I said. When we're dealing with continuous coordinate systems, that may be a better way to explain it to someone like yourself. Cool. So if no one has any other questions, I will be ending this live stream, playing just a couple ads. You're going to want to make sure to get the Firmament Tracker's Flat Earth app if you haven't yet. It is a premium piece of software allowing the planets, the stars, multiple observers. And then you're also going to want to enroll in the Flat Earth University. If you want to learn about calculus, if you want to learn about the stuff that D3, D2 is being confused about, join the Flat Earth University. Make sure to also get your Flat Earth Science textbook, 173 pages, going over everything you would ever need to know about the Flat Earth Sciences. Jody says Walter Bisland's model. No. That's a very common point of confusion, but Walter Bisland's model doesn't have the planets, it doesn't have the sun or moon, it doesn't even have a working map. So yeah, that's a very common confusion that globers will get. You want to make sure you're not using the Walter Bisland model and using the Firmament Tracker's model.
It'll do a network location. So it knows that I'm in Belize. Now you can use these joysticks here to move around and then adjust your views, play around with all the settings. So you can see, I'm hoping the touch screen is showing you what I'm doing right now, and we can now adjust some of the time at the top. So see here how we're going through the days. I can touch all that stuff. I can click on the, hold on, let's turn on some of the astronomy stuff so I can see the sun. I know it's going to rise at 5:50, set at 5:20 p.m. So it's really cool. Everything's turned out really nice. Everything's performing really well. Graphics, top quality. The wandering stars and planets are real, and you can tap on them to see, okay, that's Mercury. So I know that Mercury will be kind of right behind the sun. You can have the planets menu. So right here, this is only going to show on the pro and academic versions, and it will show what's in your perspective right now. Now remember, not all the planets are visible, but it is important to start realizing that they rotate around us once every 24 hours above us on the firmament. You can see the angle of elevation from the horizon, and you can get your compass. That's what the azimuth means. That's your compass direction. So you can start seeing planets such as Mars that are visible in the sky because they're a lot closer than we've been told. The location autocomplete search is one of the pro features. So I can type in any location such as Turk and see what comes up, click on it, and go to there. So see how my location just completely adjusted like that. And then I can now adjust the time and see everything accurately from that perspective there. Search up any location you want. So Union Glacier Camp in Antarctica is a really cool example of a place that we can go to on the Flat Earth model and set our prediction. So you see how we are -80 latitude, -82 longitude. So I have no Wi-Fi, no data, and I'm going to load the app. It's important that you know this works offline, so you can take it with you camping to remote places, and you'll still have the full set of features. That's awesome. So see, I'm still offline, and we can move stuff around, adjust stuff. Everything still works perfectly fine. To adjust the font size of your app, it's this A button in the bottom right corner. You can then lower the font size to something more comfortable. And same with the icon size as well. You can adjust those so that your user interface can look nice for however you want it set up. And then whenever you go to close, it will save this and then load it in the next time you start the app. Remember that the free version shows you the height of the sun. That's that button down here. So as we cycle through the months, we can see that the sun is going up and down the dome firmament. These are not numbers that I just made up. These are the actual calculations. You can even increase it day by day and see the small changes as the sun adjusts in altitude. So for people who have hypothesized that the sun is increasing and decreasing in altitude throughout the seasons, they are absolutely correct, and we can now prove it with this model. One touch will move your camera around, but two touches is how we can zoom in and zoom out. So let's do this and go out. See that? And then that's out, and then if we want to go in, it's like that. You notice that performance is slow. You can use this gear option down here to adjust the graphics level. So I'm going to go higher, which means it's actually going to lower it. So you see how stuff's becoming more and more blurry? So see how now it's very, very blurry. But that might be what you need. If you're on an older phone, I completely understand that, and that shouldn't stop you from being able to use this model. So if you are finding that the performance is slow, because remember, this is an astronomical model, there's a ton of calculations going on, and then the graphics rendering it itself, it's like an Xbox or like a Game Boy, you know what I mean? It's a lot of visual stuff going on. So you can always adjust that and it'll save. Demo videos are up at the top. So see that camera icon? Now the D means date only is increasing. So that'll be the same time, but we go over the days. So that'd be the sun's analemma. The T means the time's going to be increasing. So those are cycling through the full 24 hours. But you can choose one that you want and then watch as what's going to happen. And then just double tap the screen if you want it to stop. Now, I'm aware that there's not that many. I want to implement a whole bunch. But please feel free to look at what's there right now and be aware that I'm going to be adding probably 10 more because I think this is just so cool and the graphics are amazing.
Have you ever thought the world is flat? You're not alone. Many of us have wondered those same questions. Now's your chance to learn how the world really works. Download the free app on Google Play.
The coolest pro features is plotting multiple observers. That's this menu up here. So you can search for a location or plot by click. Let's see what happens if I type in Egypt. So I can now click Egypt and we'll see that a second observer has been plotted. And what's really cool is that it now shows the sun and moon for that observer. And you can do some amazing flat earth science with this. No other model can do this, and it's accurate as well. You can still adjust the dates around and see when only you will see the sun or when you both will see the moon.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for tuning in. This is now the end of our live stream for both TikTok and YouTube. The original purpose of this was to go over my training and preparation for the final experiment debate tomorrow night. Make sure that you're going to watch that on the Final Experiments YouTube channel. We are going to go over how the final experiments not only work on a flat Earth, but how they actually suggest and I believe prove that we live on a flat Earth. Thank you all. Have a great Sunday.